The divorce analogy or the marriage analogy is very good in this situation. It resonates very much with a lot of people, right? Like you at some point you're talking about divorce. You've been unhappy for years. You just gotta jump in with, to throw caution to the wind and get divorced. You'll figure out where you're going to live. You'll figure out who you'll marry down the road. You'll figure out what'll happen, but you can't overthink about it. You got to do it. That's why I'm excited about the referendum. I'm excited about the referendum because it is that. It is throw caution to the wind and get it done. But I'm scared shitless of the referendum because when I look in the last 80 years in Alberta and in Canada, there's rarely ever been any issue that has garnered 50% of the popular vote. No, it's been not since the 1970s, I think, that we've had an actual federal party win the popular vote, like with a real majority. And then even issues locally, like we had a referendum here on should we end equalization, and we still didn't get 60% on that. I'm like, wow, like you'd think that would be a no brainer, you know. I guess the only thing we all agree on is climate change. Apparently 97% of us agree that man-made climate change. But yeah, that worries me, that if the referendum rule is 50% or higher, like most referendums in recent history in the US have required super majorities, which is like 66.6. I mean, or if that was the rule, I would say pump the brakes, like pump the brakes. Yeah.
It's going to take some more time to brew.
Yeah.
And I just had a couple key kind of observations of the dynamic that's going on. So you've got the Alberta Prosperity Project, and they're paving the way. They've got a lot of support. They've got a lot of communication going on. They've got some good messaging, decent framework with their website. They're maybe pushing a little bit too fast. They seem a little overconfident on a few things that they're jumping in without maybe giving that full time for that support to build outside of these town halls, which may give them a perspective that the support is actually higher than what it actually is. And I don't see the Alberta Republicans being something that can't coexist beside. I think there's a place, and if people are worried about the Alberta Republicans hurting the movement, they should be concerned about the UCP hurting the movement, or the UCP doing things that will ultimately hurt conservatives or change the perception of what conservatives like, if we should trust any of them.
That's an argument that's a great argument that's brought up frequently. Like, if you're worried about the Republicans splitting the vote and the NDP getting in, then you've just told me then we're not ready for a referendum, and we might as well forget about it altogether, because if generally speaking, the NDP will not vote for a separation. So if you think that NDP are still a threat, and you use that as an excuse to discount one or the other options, you're dead in the water. So, I think, this is my observation, there's still personalities at play, right? There's, like, in both groups, there's personalities that have been at this now for 20, 30, or 40 years. And many have done this and and are still doing it. And those personalities, the egos are getting in the way. That's one of my biggest fear right now, is the egos are going to get in the way, and the personalities with baggage.